right, good Monday morning, everybody. We are live here on KENS 5 talking all things weather. It's a partly cloudy day. We're seeing more clouds moving from this north, and that's all because of the system that moved in over this past weekend. But now things are starting to quiet down. The rest of this week should be pretty nice and comfortable and seasonal, I should say. I wouldn't say comfortable, but seasonal. This morning felt great, but this afternoon probably at about 90, which is not too bad. Tomorrow through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, temperatures will start to rebound and we'll get closer to normal and maybe even above average. But we'll talk about that in detail in a little bit. If you have any questions, comment down below. Join the conversation. It is a mostly cloudy look over San Antonio right now. The inventor of the heat index has passed away. He was 85 but felt like 101. David, that is a awesome joke. That is, you know, there are so many jokes about wind chills and heat indexes and feels like temperatures, and that is a good one right there. David, thank you so much for that awesome joke. It is a mostly cloudy look over San Antonio International and over the airport, Calaveras Lake, Morgan Dorner Lake Camp, all seeing similar conditions on this Monday morning. Happy Monday, by the way. New week, and it's the second full week of September. Hopefully things will start to cool down soon. Today's not bad. I'll say that first and foremost. Today's high is about 90 to 91. That's not terrible. But, you know, when you're talking about where temperatures in November and December are at, you know, you want those kind of weather temperatures moving in our direction. But right now, just going to be warm. We're mostly cloudy. We'll be right around 90 to 91 later this afternoon. But if you have any questions, comment down below. Okay, so let's talk about this past weekend. Very active. Look at some of the rain totals around the region. So this is San Antonio on the left, and then Hill Country and some of our western areas to the right. This just shows you what happened this past weekend. Some areas got more than others, right? So, for example, Helotes picked up 2 inches of rain. Alamo Ranch on the west side of Bexar County, 1.5. Stone Oak, nearly 3, not bad. West of Castle Hills, basically like I-10, 410 area. Some of the rain gauges out there last night picked up 3 inches plus. So, hey, pretty good rain in like northwest San Antonio. David, you're very welcome. Absolutely. You're very welcome, man. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had some good rain this past weekend. There were some areas like in northeast San Antonio that picked up like upwards of 2 inches. Schertz, for example, 1.8. Stone Oak, 2.7. Medina Lake, which is where they need it. They need it. They picked up about 3 inches of rain. Not bad over the last 2 days. Pretty good rainfall for this last weekend. Kerrville, 1.1. Bernie, 1.5. Uvalde, 3.1. And Fredericksburg, pretty similar to Medina Lake at 2.99 inches of rain. This past weekend was productive. We had some good beneficial soaking downpours into the area. Okay, 79 out the door, 81 is what it feels like. Northeast wind, humidity is not bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. 79 in the city, 80 at Randolph, 79 at Stinson, a little cooler at Bernie at 72. Bernie is always much cooler, always cooler in southern Kendall County. Bandera at 74. Here's today's timeline, 84 at lunchtime, and I think we max out at like 90, 91 under a sunny sky. Right now, obviously, partly to mostly cloudy, but most of this cloud cover will move out eventually, gradually by the mid-afternoon. Highs in the upper 80s, lower 90s with a northeast wind at 8 to 10 miles an hour. There's temperatures across the board, lower 70s to the north and even some lower to middle 80s to the south. So a big, huge temperature change. That's because of cloud cover, right? So here's what's happening. San Antonio, Hill Country, areas out west, all underneath a lot of clouds. That's kind of restricting temperatures a little bit, but anywhere like towards Tilden, George West, Beeville, Victoria, they're seeing a sunny sky right now based on what we're seeing on satellite imagery. And if there's any rain out there, it's like way offshore. If anything, there may be a couple of lingering leftover showers towards the valley later today, but that'll be sparse. That'll be few and far between. And our weather maker that pushed in this past weekend, is now moving out. So we're looking at a clear and decent day. Because normal high this time of year is 92. We'll be at about 90, so that's not terrible. That's not bad at all. 87 at 6, 79 at 10. Mostly clear conditions after about 2 o'clock today. That's what it looks like by 9 p.m. tonight. Temperatures back in the 80s and upper 70s towards the late evening hours. And going forward, rain is trending down. I don't think we're going to see much of a heat wave, but temperatures will go up. You know, normal high this time of year is 92, 93. we'll be at about 94, 95 basically by like Thursday, Friday, and this upcoming weekend. So if you have any plans outdoors this weekend, it should be fine. It doesn't look like any rain, any significant chance for showers and storms is coming back because the last 2 weekends have been very busy. But this upcoming weekend should be fine. So if you're doing anything outdoors, should be okay. It's September 8th, and just a heads up, September 10th is statistically the peak of hurricane season. That's when we start seeing more and more storms form in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and in the Gulf. We're not seeing that right now. There is Hurricane Kiko out near Hawaii, out in the open Pacific. But aside from that, in the Atlantic, it is just so quiet. There is a tropical wave off the coast of Central America near Belize, heading towards Mexico, but that has a low chance at development. And for our, forecast and what we look ahead to, there's just nothing out there. There are a couple of waves off the coast of Africa and maybe some disorganized rain out near the Caribbean, but really nothing in regarding organized tropical storms or hurricanes. It's pretty quiet. For, this time of year, we should be seeing several hurricanes, several tropical storms, at least forming out over open water. So we're definitely watching that very slowly. From David, is there a slow hurricane season? Not that we want them. So far it's been pretty slow. We've seen, let me see if I can bring up the activity that's been out there so far. That's a good question. Let me double check. I think generally, yeah, it's been pretty slow in regarding this hurricane season. Let's see. So we've seen Fernand. We have not seen Tropical Storm Gabrielle. So we're not even a third of the way through the 2025 list. Now I say that reluctantly because mid to late September things can fire off fast. So we're going to keep a close eye on it. Always be aware. You just don't know what's going to happen in just a week or 2 weeks out. A lot can happen in the Atlantic, especially how hot it is out there and how warm the water is. But in regarding what it looks like now, yeah, it's been pretty quiet. We've only seen the A, B, C, D, E, F storm, so up to Fernand, and Gabrielle is next. And typically this time of year, if it's an active hurricane season, we'll be all the way down to the J, K, or L name by now. But we just haven't seen that much activity. Dexter, yeah, we've seen a couple of hurricanes out there, but just nothing that has been too concerning and no direct impacts. And a lot of them have either formed, like I remember Aaron formed into a hurricane, but just bended towards the northeast and just moved away from land. So they can happen this time of year, and overall it has been quiet. So, but remember, September 10th is the peak. Let me just show you that right now. Let's see if it pops up real quick. There it is right there. So the season starts on June 1 and then is halfway through on September 10th, but that is the time of year where we see just most tropical storms and hurricanes begin to form, and they just start to crank out of the Atlantic just like clockwork. And we see another peak, in the early to mid part of October, but the rule of thumb is if we get a cold front in sometime in end of September, early October, that usually marks the unofficial end to the season just because of what fronts do. They act as barriers and they push any tropical systems away from land, but that's not always the case. That is not always the case because the season goes all the way until the end of November. But just remember, it's about now when season starts to peak. All right, here's your 14-day today's high. Not bad, 90 degrees. Some highs might stay in the upper 80s, especially north of San Antonio. 93 Tuesday, 94 Wednesday, and notice temperatures get back to near normal, a little bit above average by this weekend, but overall pretty quiet in the weather department for the second week of September. Mostly sunny, clear, and highs in the middle 90s. And it's not until that following week where we get another opportunity at some rain moving back in, but right now nothing significant. This upcoming week is staying quiet with highs in the middle 90s and mostly sunny skies.